So, welcome to You Talks. I like that. I like that name. What do you think?
I like it a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I think, this is the studio, but what are we doing? We're talking.
Exactly.
It's really about the chat.
I agree. So, I'm feeling good about that name change. So, yeah. So, this week, if you tuned into yesterday's episode, you will have seen that this week is National Women's Health Awareness Week. And we're talking, yesterday we spent some time talking about nutrition, sleep, diet, exercise, kind of the traditional things you think of when you think about health. And today,
Exactly.
we're going to talk about maybe the not so healthy things that we may or may not have a tendency to do and that we could pretty easily kick out. So I'm calling it Kick the Nasty Habits, ladies. And I don't think that we're all doing these, but I think, and some of them are harder to quit than others.
For sure.
But I do think it's a good reminder of sometimes we just have some nasty little habits or we get in a pattern or a routine of doing some things that overall, in the big picture of things, probably not our most healthy things.
And that's okay.
That's okay.
It's okay to have habits that aren't healthy or are in fact nasty.
Yeah.
But it's just, something that we constantly work on. We all have them. Just depends. We have different ones. So just do your best.
Do your best. All right. So let's hear them.
You want to dive in?
Let's dive in.
Well, the first one is actually something that is really near and dear to my heart because as someone who did smoke for a while in my life when I was much younger and, not really thinking about health and wellness being top of mind, I've been very concerned seeing how vaping has taken off.
Oh, yes.
Especially because, 5-7 years ago, it was really being positioned as a healthy alternative to smoking. And I had quite a few friends, especially some of the very creative people that I've worked with, who took it up readily because they thought it was a good way to quit smoking and thought it was, if not bad for you, or if not healthy, at least not bad for you.
Sure.
And it turns out it's all of the above. It's very bad for you, very not healthy. It's got, most of them have nicotine, which is highly addictive.
Yes.
And often leads to smoking cigarettes down the road. And most of them have numerous chemicals that should not be anywhere near your lungs.
Yes.
Especially not in them in a steam form where your lungs just absorb all that stuff.
Right. Yeah, I think you're dead on that. It was sad that it was a trend for a little while. And I've seen a lot of younger, I think like high school kids.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of sad because I think we were finally getting to a place where everyone kind of knew, well, let's kick the smoking habit.
Yes.
There's been enough science, enough people who I personally know and a lot of people personally know affected by lung cancer and smoking. And
Absolutely.
So I think that trend was kind of dying. And so, yeah, I agree with you. It's a hard one to see come up and it is highly addictive. So once you start, it's only going to become a habit.
Exactly. And it's kind of like cigarettes were in their early years. People didn't realize that they were so bad for you. And it was just, a habit that you picked up. It was no big deal. And that's kind of been the trend with some young people. It's sort of ironic for me. I've known young people that as little kids, they would say to me, ew, smoking, that's gross. And now they're vaping and don't quite realize how bad that is for them. So if you're vaping, just ditch the vape. It's expensive. Sometimes they explode in your face.
Yeah, I have seen that on YouTube. That's funny.
Obviously, that's a rarity.
Not funny, sorry, but...
Right. But it's not something you would expect to happen.
Yeah.
And just one of the many dangers of vaping. So...
All right. So, we're not going to be vaping.
No vaping and no smoking.
No smoking.
Fortunately, the trend has been people have been quitting smoking. There are not nearly as many smokers, which has been part of the big challenge with vaping.
Yeah.
But plenty of people do still smoke, and I understand, having been a smoker in the past, how difficult it is to quit. I was fortunate enough to quit cold turkey and have it stick.
Oh, you did?
I know that that's very rare.
Yes.
I think what really helped me was that my husband was never a smoker, and so he hated it. If he had been a smoker, I don't know if I could have quit at that time in that way. But because I had support and people around me who did not smoke and really didn't like it, I felt like I had even more incentive to just really stay away from it. And I'd also gotten sick. I had a really nasty bout of bronchitis and felt horrible. And I couldn't smoke for a few weeks anyways because I was so sick and coughing so badly that I said, okay, well, the nicotine's out of my system. Now I just have to go through the psychological battle, which is horrible. I mean, it's really hard, but, you know, part of the battle was already done.
Nice.
So I just, I said, I'm not going to do it anymore. At the time, I think I had like a full pack missing maybe 2 cigarettes or something in my bag. And I just left that in my bag. I said, I'm going to leave it there so that I feel like I have that security blanket, but I'm going to choose not to use it. And that seemed to work for me. Nowadays, of course, there are quite a few different options, from medication to nicotine gum to patches, all sorts of different things that you can use, and I would highly recommend trying any of them.
Yeah.
If I was a smoker today and trying to quit, I would definitely use whatever tools were available.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think, you know, smoking becomes a habit, and so in order to kick a habit, you usually have to change some things around what makes that a habit. So in addition to, once you've decided you want to quit smoking, you know, don't avoid going out on the breaks with the same people that usually do. Find the support system of the people who aren't smoking and do something new, or go for a walk over lunch. Do things that keep you moving and keep you doing things and kind of break the cycle of the former habit.
Exactly.
And so finding new habits is a great way to do that.
And a great thing would be to incorporate a healthy habit to kick the unhealthy habit. So maybe doing something that it wouldn't be pleasant to smoke during, such as going for a walk or a jog or bicycling or doing something active, because typically you don't want to smoke when you're being active anyways.
Right.
You're breathing hard, you know, it's just not pleasant.
Yeah.
So try to find healthy alternatives that you can do instead, and, you know, find a support system.
Yep, I completely
Super important.
agree. I agree. Okay, so the next one, before you even say this one, I think drinking.
Yes.
You know, we all know that Chelsea likes to have a little fun every once in a while. I do like my wine. But I think, you know, drinking is also considered a bad habit too. And so we've seen pretty negative, you know, even in your epigenetics, you can really see if you are binge drinking, if you aren't, if you're having a little too much fun.
Right.
And so once again, it's all about balance.
Yes.
Go have fun, but make sure you're adding enough positive things so you're not necessarily letting drinking become too big of a habit. And
also knowing that you can have fun without drinking.
Yes, totally. So yeah, I can, very similar to the smoking thing, you know, if you're in a habit, if your friends go out and you know in summertime and you want to go sit on a patio, you know, how can you do those things without drinking, or how do you maybe do something different? So I know I have this one group of girlfriends where we can't help it. It's just like wine became part of it, and like, but it was more than just the drinking too. It was like negative cycle of like gossip, and I just am not in a place in my life where I wanted that.
No.
So I suggested, you know, why don't you guys come over? We'll meal prep for the week. We can talk while grilling and getting sunshine. And so if you can think of something creative like that where it gives you something else to do, I really, really suggest it. I mean, I'm a avid bruncher, happy hour goer. So this one's hard.
Yes.
To kick that habit. But when you do it, it feels really good. And no, there's nothing worse than when you start to get older, the alcohol really hits you. So
right.
It's actually making me feel better inside and out to kind of, have one instead of four.
Absolutely. And, I'm thankful that as I've gotten older, and especially once I got a thyroid issue, it really became impossible for me to drink anymore. Just a few sips and I usually start feeling terrible, and my body just doesn't metabolize alcohol the same way anymore. So it was kind of a blessing in disguise because it really made that a non-habit, where it had previously been one. To me, the most important thing with drinking is that you drink and ride instead of drink and drive.
Yes. Sorry, I was trying to break this into two separate ones. So I completely agree. So drinking itself, kind of a nasty habit. Control it, have fun, but make sure it's all about balance. And then the nastiest of the habits is definitely, if you do go drink, do not drive. We've seen this for how long, but it's a really dumb thing. And
it really is.
There's way too much access to safe drives, like you said, with Uber, with Lyft.
There's so many ride-sharing apps and services now.
That's right.
That even if you don't think you're going to drink, if you're going out for a night with friends, why not just take an Uber or a Lyft?
Yes. Go
as a group, leave your keys at home, don't even worry about driving.
Yes.
And then have a safe night.
Yes.
If you want to drive, that's fine, as long as you have a designated driver and you're going to stay together as a group.
Mm-hmm.
But one of the worst things I think you can do is get behind the wheel after you've had a drink, because even one drink can alter your blood alcohol level to the point where you're not going to have the same reflexes or make the same decisions.
Yeah.
And it's just not worth taking someone's life or your own.
No. And DUIs have gotten out of control, expensive for good reason. Don't get me wrong, but I know, numerous people where it's like you're going into some serious debt, and the comparison of a $20 Uber drive compared to the tens of thousands of dollars you're going to pay. And unfortunately, that's not the worst. The DUI is not the worst. You're putting other lives at risk here. So I think, please stay off the roads, stay safe, go have your fun, but be as safe as you can.
Oh, yeah. Don't ruin your life. Don't ruin anyone else's life.
Exactly.
If just stay home. Have friends over and stay there and have a sleepover.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't even have to go anywhere.
Yeah, totally agree. Yeah, I've always been pretty good about not getting behind the wheel, but now I've become the friend who's like not letting anyone else.
Yes,
like, my place is big enough, stay over.
Absolutely.
But I think we all have that job to do. So if you see anyone making a risky choice, tell them to kick the habit too.
Absolutely.
I love it. Or offer to even buy their Uber ride. I mean, seriously.
Right.
So that's enough about that one, but I completely agree. That one is a top of my list for sure. So then next we have...
The next one, super important, just like all the others, get your cancer screenings.
Oh, yeah.
So many people avoid these.
Yes.
And, really depending on your age and your specific health conditions and your situation, your doctor may recommend different screenings. But whatever they do recommend, make sure to make those appointments, go and get those screenings done.
Yeah.
Whether it's cancer screenings, mammograms, colonoscopies, your regular pap smear, skin checks.
Yes.
Whatever it is, do that regularly, just because prevention is the key. You really want to catch things early to prevent them from becoming deadly.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think we all have a tendency to either just not talk about it or not ask enough questions or like wanting to avoid things. And your relationship with your doctor should be so strong, and you should really, really, really make sure you're doing this. I think a good place, I know it is expensive. Sometimes it's, you know, only partially covered with insurance. So to prioritize that, I think look at your family history. Of course, get any testing done, like look at your epigenetics.
Absolutely.
And your genetics, see if you're predisposed to anything. Those can be really great indicators, and that point you in a good direction of like the ones that you should definitely prioritize.
Absolutely.
And I think, you know, pay attention, really look at your body. And women, you know, do your exams when you're in the shower. Look at your skin, look at your moles, you know
your body,
do the tests, and really listen if anything feels out of place. Really make sure you're asking questions, and there's nothing too dumb to ask to a doctor. So
and asking your doctor, not asking Google.
Yes, yeah.
or WebMD.
We've all fell victim to the WebMD scares, right? Like, I have cancer.
I have had to ban myself from Googling and WebMDing health issues because it always works me up, gets my anxiety going, and it's never what I researched it to be. So
it's never
work
good.
with your doctor.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, this next one is wear sunscreen, which I guess kind of has to do with the previous, but yeah, this is another big one. I'm especially these women who, you know, like to get tan and feel good, and it's summertime, and I shouldn't just say women, but it's Women's Health Week. That's the only reason I'm saying that.
Exactly.
But you know, we need to, and this, I think skincare is just in general, like really take care of your skin.
Absolutely.
Make sure you're moisturizing. Make sure you're putting on your SPF before you put your makeup on every day. Put on a layer. I mean, all year round, really.
Oh, yeah.
And really, really take care of your skin.
Wash your face.
Wash your face.
You know, do all the things. But the big one really is sunscreen. And that's not just your face. It's really any part of your body that's exposed.
Yeah.
And it doesn't just have to be when the sun's out.
Right.
There could be a cloudy sky and you're still actually soaking up those rays. So it's really important that you just put a little sunscreen on. It takes a minute.
Yeah.
Not even that. I do it every morning after I've washed my face and moisturized. I put a layer of sunscreen moisturizer over my moisturizer.
Oh, nice.
And I get my face, my neck, my ears, and usually this arm, because this is the side that's in the sun the most on the drive to work.
Oh, that's funny.
So I make sure to cover any parts that are going to be exposed, and it's just a daily habit now.
Nice. Yeah, I love the idea of replacing your daily moisturizer with something that has SPF in it. We're not ever suggesting like purchasing all these extra products, but you can be very, very smart about it. And there's some, you know, organic sunscreens coming out to the market, which will be really great too. I know that was a big deal for quite some time. They couldn't find the right ingredients to make an all organic sunscreen. But now, you know, there's plenty of options. So
absolutely. And I mean, if your concerns are organic or not having chemicals, not having zinc oxide, that's a big one that I've heard from a lot of friends. And for me, the big one is always using cruelty-free for everything. I have found a great one that I love using. I still apply it over my moisturizer because, especially since moving to the Midwest, my skin gets really dry. So I do take that extra layer, but this sunscreen's so good, you don't even need it. So we'll make sure to post that in today's social, and you can try it.
Thank you. Thanks for sharing your knowledge with us all. And then this next one, what is it?
So this is a really big one. This is probably my pet peeve more than any other, which is texting and driving.
Yes.
I mean, I went from many years ago when I would see someone driving erratically, I would tell my husband, oh, there's a drunk driver, watch out. Now it's always, they're texting and driving. And unfortunately, it is a big problem. In the U.S., 1 in 4 accidents are caused by texting and driving.
Wow, that is terrible.
And the statistic was, it was either 1.6 million or 1.9 million accidents per year are caused by people playing with their cell phone.
Wow.
So whether it's texting, whether it's using social media, whether it's GPS, really be cautious. Don't do anything you don't have to do. If you're going to use GPS, set it and have it on your dash before you go, and then wait, pull over if you need to play with it and you're lost, or wait until you're stopped at a light, but don't play with your phone while you're driving. I mean, it's just, there's too much at risk. Too many young people have been dying because of this, and it's really becoming an epidemic.
Yeah, I completely agree. And if you can get yourself in the habit of just calling if it's an emergency, or using your GPS on a thing, so it's not in your hand, because half the time it's just like holding your phone. But
right.
I think they cost a couple bucks on Amazon. Like, such a smart investment. Then you can't even text because it's your phone's up and being held away from you. So anything like that you can do, I think, for sure. It's so sad because the cell phone is one of the best pieces of technology and inventions this generation will have ever seen.
Yes.
So amazing, the access of information that we have in our palms. I couldn't be more happy about it. But that in itself is a habit worth kicking, period, is just making sure you limit your use, and especially during times of driving, right before and right after sleeping. Just try to kick some of those habits and become just a little bit less dependent on your cell phone. You can do it. They did it for hundreds of generations before us. And I know I love being connected too, but it's really, really important that we stay focused during certain times without our dependency on our phones.
Selfies are great, but not while you're driving.
Yeah, that's on a whole nother level.
The other thing is, if you know somebody is driving somewhere, or if you've got a friend who's taking a road trip, whatever it is, don't text them. Like, just wait. Wait until you know they're in a safe place to talk. If you know someone is on the road, don't even tempt them, because you don't want to be the person that sent the text that they checked and then something bad happened.
Ouch, yeah. I never really thought about it like that, but definitely great call.
Be supportive of your friends and family.
Yes, I completely agree. All right, and then this last one is all about, and I think this is important for men and women, but maybe a little less talked about for women, is practicing safe sex. And I think, getting on the birth controls and making sure that you are feeling good about what works for you and your body, super important. But then, be really, this is your body, and we have to be really careful with ourselves. And whether you think you have found a partner and you're really, really excited about it, and you're just dating and you're single, still be mindful that this is your body and you really, really have to protect it, and make sure that even if you're on birth control, you're still practicing safe sex. And then once you are in a committed relationship or married, etc., it's still super important. And I think that's when people sometimes forget to pay as much attention to it. But we got to, making sure that you're doing all the things you need to do, going to the bathroom after you do have sex, so you're taking care of your lady business. And I know it seems awkward to talk about it, or maybe even basic, but it's really, really important in our bodies. It's, you're practicing in something that should be sacred, and it's also kind of dirty, and so we got to be washing ourselves. We got to be taking care of it, and really, really be mindful that you don't get bacterial infections or anything like that.
Using the bathroom before and after.
Yes.
I mean, if anyone's ever had a urinary tract infection.
Oh, the worst.
Bladder infection. I've only had one in my life, and it was the worst pain I've ever had.
I know.
I'm pretty sure I got that from wearing jeans that were too tight at the time, because that was the trend. back then.
That's funny.
But it was miserable, and I learned very quickly that I needed to wear looser pants and drink more water and, take some cranberry supplements or juice. I mean, so there are a lot of things you can do, but really just practice safe sex. Have the conversations, no matter how embarrassing it might be or awkward. When you're going to be intimate with someone, you should have those conversations first.
Yes.
Everything from what sort of birth control are you using?
Yeah.
And that's something you should know before you even go out into the dating pool.
Yeah.
Know what you're using, know what's going to work for you, and then have those conversations with your potential partner. Make sure you're on the same page. Remember that just protecting against pregnancy, that's just one thing. You also need to protect against diseases.
Yes.
And, talking to your partner. Are you monogamous? How many partners do you have? Are you serious about each other? And really laying out your expectations. If somebody's sleeping with 3 or 4 different people, maybe they're not the one for you, or maybe they are.
Right.
It's fine either way, but just taking those precautions, really protecting yourself, and being open and having that transparent conversation.
Yeah, I think it's so important. And of all the things in our life, it's our body and our life that really, really, at the end of the day, matter the very most. And so really protect that and really think about it and make sure, is this the right decision, and do I have enough knowledge to make this accurate decision? And you know what? We've all made mistakes. We've all done stuff. So don't ever be hard on yourself if anything has happened. Zero judgment, especially from us. But really, really, we're trying to change the conversation, and good health, that is also about good sexual health. And
absolutely.
We're all about that. The human body needs it. We just need to do it safe. And we'll start talking about it and help be a tool and a resource that you guys can use if you do have questions. And I like relating this one back to the doctor, because when you do have a doctor who you can really, really talk through things with, there's nothing better. And so a good part of, checking in with your body and making sure you're getting annual exams for that as well.
Absolutely.
And being open and honest about the situation that you're in with your doctor can only help preventative care too. So.
And if you don't have health insurance, or you don't have access to your own doctor, there are also free clinics that you can go to, and different places like Planned Parenthood, where you can go to get your annual screenings and make sure that you don't have cancer or STDs, and you can go to get birth control, and you can go to talk about family planning and find out what's the best for you, whatever it is. So just really make sure that you're prioritizing having some medical facility, practitioner, etc., that you have a relationship with and that you can go to.
Yeah.
And, really just remembering that good health is not just about good health, it's about bad health too.
Yes.
There are a lot of bad things that many of us are doing, have done, may do in the future, but that if we can just really try our best to minimize those things, we're going to be that much healthier.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Well, thanks, Hannah, for putting this list together. I thought you did such a good job. And, if any of these resonated or you want more information, of course, come chat with us on social media at Usurance on all of our social platforms, except for Twitter. Hello, Usurance. And also just leave us some comments on these videos. We now are more than a podcast. We are a video podcast, and I'm super excited about that as well. So leave us some comments, and let's start a dialogue, and let's start talking about not only what it means to be healthy, but the things that we have to give up sometimes to choose being healthy. And,
exactly.
I love that. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Always a wise day with Hannah over here. Thank you all.